from WBBZ-TV Sports. It's time to beat the champ. Now, here are your hosts, Paul Peck and Sue Novoitsky.
It is Beat the Champ from here at Manor Lanes 2 in Amherst. Hi, everybody, with Hall of Fame bowlers Sue Novoitsky and Janelle Saban. My name is Paul Peck. It's our final week here at Manor Lanes 2, Sue, and as always, we're going to have a little fun, and our fun today is a high school bowling challenge.
Yeah, not just any high school challenge. These are the best bowlers from Western New York, so this is the future of our sport. We're going to see some nice bowling.
We've got Niagara Frontier League represented. We've got Monsignor Martin represented along with the ECIC, so it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a good crowd. You're going to keep us up to date as always.
Definitely. I'll do my best.
I know you will. So we're going to have a lot of fun here with the High School Bowling Challenge. So let's get rolling. First match of the day, Christy and Nicholas on the left from Sweet Home High School against Jessica and Samantha from North Tonawanda High School. And that is our first match here as we are going with the Baker format. So to help us along here to give us some good insight into these bowlers and the youth bowling here in Western New York, as always, we welcome in the proprietor of Manor Lanes 2, Jim Russo, to join Sue and I here at the broadcast location. Jim, how are you?
I'm pretty good, except for that. Other than that gutter ball that she just threw.
Some of your coaching is not quite sunk in there, has it?
Let me tell you. You have a minute while I go up there and give her a little whack. No, what's happening here is we have taken. I'm biased because a lot of these kids, look at that.
They're much better. There's your coaching at display.
Well, anyway, what we have here is we have four kids, and they're all products of our junior bowling league. Christy is a one and done, as we call it in high school circles. She came out for the Sweet Home team, and she bowled 1 year, and now she's going on to Fredonia, where she's going to be a tennis star. She's majoring in video production, and she's got 2 majors, she told me. She must be smart. I didn't know that. But anyway, Christy showed a lot of enthusiasm, and she came out for the team, just really good to work with. But I have her on the show just to show that first-year bowler can do pretty well.
There you go. That's great.
So the nerves are going to take over here. As you can see, Samantha Michelin, Sam's been on the North Tonawanda team since she was in 7th grade. She's also a product of our junior bowling league. And
now we get a look at Nick.
And Nick is the superstar of the Sweet Home boys team.
Right,
and
now,
you'll see why when you see the way he throws the ball.
Oh, very impressive. Now, like you said, you are, there's the dreaded 7-10 split. So right off the bat, a big challenge for Nick. You are the coach of the Sweet Home girls team, but you're also pretty familiar with everybody up at North Tonawanda because they bowl here at Manor Lanes too.
Right. We have a junior bowling program on Saturday morning, and we believe strongly in coaching. So we have one coach for every 4 lanes of bowlers. So we have 16 lanes here. We have one coach for every 4 lanes, and we try to teach them the fundamentals. And we have a very high percentage of our bowlers that go on to be high school stars.
Right, and there we get our first look at Jessica Sass from North Tonawanda with a great strike right off the bat there. So Sue, explain for everybody as they're watching a little bit here, the format and how this is all going to work.
So they're bowling Baker doubles and they're bowling scratch. So first of all, scratch means no handicap. So Jim, what are their averages roughly?
Well, they range all over the place. The last 6 weeks or so, Jessica, I would say, has averaged around 200. Samantha probably is in the 170s. Christy is our lowest average bowler, again being a first-year bowler, probably in the 130s, and Nick is over 200.
So they're evenly matched as much as you can get them to be evenly matched.
Sure.
So they're bowling scratch, and they're bowling Baker style, which means one bowler will bowl the first frame, the second bowler will bowl the second frame, then the first bowler will go back and bowl the third frame, and so on and so forth. So they each bowl 5 frames.
Gotcha. And as you can also tell, everybody is, we're going to have the Sweet Home on the left side, lane number 5, and North Tonawanda will be bowling on the right side, lane number 6, which makes it easier for both our viewers and for us to keep track of and follow. So, and here's Samantha Michelin again as you get a look at her. And there's a nice strike for Samantha. So Samantha and Jess off to a good start here on the North Tonawanda side of things.
Yeah, I think as soon as the nerves settle down, you'll see that they'll be bowling up to their potential. The Sweet Home team bowls in the ECIC, and in the North Tonawanda bowls in the Niagara Frontier League.
Right.
So we have two different divisions. During the course of the season, we never face each other until the end of the year when we go to sectionals to determine who goes on to state.
Gotcha. How much do you enjoy having, like I said, you host the Sweet Home bowling tournaments here at Manor Lanes too, and obviously you're involved. How much do you enjoy having that level of competition here?
It's the best part of my job. The Saturday morning junior leagues and the high school kids, they come out, they have a passion for the game, and they're here practicing 3 or 4 times a week. Some of the kids that are on the team, like Nick, are bowling on Saturday morning as well. And then I get an opportunity to see other kids. We have a lot of the kids from the Star Point High School team. And like I said, NT, we have kids from Williamsville North. I would say probably about 40% of our bowlers are high school bowlers.
Great, that's outstanding.
And we have Dennis Illig is here on Saturday morning. He's a 200-plus average bowler. Chris Baum is another 200-plus average bowler. And we try to teach the kids, like we were talking about in the adult shows, not only the physical part of the game, but the mental part of the game. It's important for me to have Christy be able to come out and say that she would do this, knowing that she's not the greatest, but she's going to always be trying, and she's always going to have a smile on her face, and that's worth more than you can, more than most of anything that you can put out there.
Sue, I know you're actively involved in helping some of the younger bowlers and developing the next generation of bowlers. What do you find is the biggest teaching challenge, the physical or the mental part of the game?
Geez, it depends on the bowler actually, but you want to, if you give them the right tools physically, then it doesn't weigh on you as heavily mentally because you don't panic as much. If you have, just like anything, if you have the tools to do it, then you can figure your way out of things. So fundamentals are the first thing they should always learn. And you mentioned the Coburn Clinic too, and that's something that is available in the summertime when you're not in the middle of bowling, and it's hard to change things while you're in the middle of league or you're in the middle of all of your competition.
The beauty of the Coburn Clinic is that if it's a beautiful 90-degree day and you're at the beach, you don't have to drop everything and come back because you're not committed to it. But, we don't, in Western New York, believe it or not, we don't always have 85 and sunny. So when it's raining, when it's too windy, when it's too cold, when it's too humid to be outside, you can always come into our air-conditioned building and get some expert instruction.
This feels like a good time to take a short break. We'll be right back with more action on Beat the Champ. Welcome back to Beat the Champ. Let's get back to the action here on WBBZ-TV.
It's nice that Beat the Champ and, the actual tours on TV and gives them, a chance to see really good bowling, but you got to work with people and their patience because, there's a lot of knowledge. It looks a lot easier than it is. So again, I think
this sport does require some patience, doesn't it?
It does, and it requires some practice. And practice, takes time. You got to put the phone down, and you've got to pay attention to what you're doing.
Just like I've had to learn patience whenever we have Jim on, I have to learn some patience as well too.
Well, I have a lot of respect for showing kids right from the very start the foundation of the bowling. When I start, what I'm trying to say is I show them how wide the lane is. I show them how long the lane is. I show them the space between the pins. We take them back and show them how the machines operate. And we try to give them an understanding right from the ground floor up. And I think that kind of helps. I'm finding that a lot of the kids didn't realize that. It's the first thing that you do when you go into a bowling center. If you watch most people, they get out there and they either throw the ball to the right or the left. The perception for a right-hander is that the head pin is to the left. And if you're throwing up the third arrow, the ball is 8 inches wide. The third arrow is on the 15th board, which is boards are 1 inch wide, and the head pin's on the 20th. So if you throw over the third arrow, you can throw a completely straight ball and still hit the head pin. And most bowlers don't realize that their arm is going over their left shoulder. And
we're coming down to the stretch here as we make our way into the 10th frame here of our match between Sweet Home High School and North Tonawanda High School. And then the winner of this match will advance to our championship match. And then our next match will feature the Monsignor Martin team versus another team from the Niagara Frontier League, if I believe I'm correct there. And again, that winner will advance on. So that's our format here. So here's Nick. And that's a big hit for Nick.
See, now what Nick has learned is kind of like he took a cue from the professional bowlers. If you saw, he put a little tape in his ball. That was just done to give him a little more FaceTime on camera. Had nothing to do with anything else.
I see how this works, right?
Anyway.
I gotcha. You always got to know where the camera is, right?
He's an old pro, that Nick.
There you go. Well, you know what? If he keeps knocking pins down like he just did, he can have as much camera time as he wants to. And a good, nice hit on the head pin there.
You will definitely be seeing more of Nick.
Yeah, outstanding. Good job by Nick Penksa.
So we got a 128, so it looks like my North Tonawanda girls are going to beat my Sweet Home people.
Are you going to hear about that?
No, because I win no matter what.
Good for you,
This was,
see? No wonder you set it up
win-win.
that way, didn't you? And another terrific strike by Jessica. She has been outstanding here in this match.
I think they might be finding that the lanes are hooking a little bit more than what they expect because of the amount of play that was actually on them today.
Sure.
And it's a little harder when you don't have all that ball speed or don't have the ability to change balls liberally.
It probably affects them, but what it's going to affect are the next group of guys coming over, because like I said, these guys are 130 average, 170 average. The next group of people coming over are all 200 average bowlers, and the very best high school bowling has to offer.
Back-to-back strikes for Jessica. She finishes things out here on what's going to be a win for the North Tonawanda team here in the first of our 2 high school bowling challenges here at Manor Lanes 2 as we finish up our month-long stay here just off Tonawanda Creek Road in Amherst.
What we might want to also bring up is that these young men are getting a lot of practice over there, but they're practicing on lanes that haven't been bowled on at all. Yeah. It's going to be culture shock when they come over here.
3 straight strikes to finish it out for Jess and to put the nice score of 165 on the board. So our North Tonawanda squad of Jessica and Samantha wins 165 to 128. So we'll talk to our bowlers when we come back and get you ready for match number 2. It is our Beat the Champ High School Bowling Challenge from Manor Lanes 2 in Amherst. A fine performance by Nick and Christy in our first match. You had to make Coach Russo here proud, didn't you?
Of course.
Yeah, how much fun was that for you, Nick? Did you enjoy it?
It's a lot of fun, especially being one of Mr. Russo's best.
Don't call him Mr. Russo. I will never be able to live it down after that. You know, Christy, he told us your very interesting story about all of a sudden deciding that you wanted to give this a shot, and it's a tough sport to jump right into, but how much have you enjoyed the last year?
Oh my gosh, it's so amazing. Just experience, just meeting new friends and learning something different is what I always like to do, and just joining bowling is just something to do over the winter, and it's a good experience just to have a good time.
Right. Coach, what'd you think here?
I like it. They're always smiling. That's the best thing about it. You know, you don't see them throwing things and throwing temper tantrums. They're out there always trying, always smiling, and we have a good time. So anybody out there that isn't doing anything during the winter, if you're not doing a winter sport, you got to grab a bowling ball, get yourself a coach, and come on out.
There you go. Sounds like great advice, and here's two excellent examples of exactly that. We've got another match coming. The next match at our high school bowling championship is next from here at Manor Lanes 2 in Amherst. Match number 2 of our high school challenge features the Monsignor Martin guys on the left. That's Nicholas and Ryan versus another team from the Niagara Frontier League of Jared and Dominic on the right. And the winner of this match will move on to take on our winners from the previous match, Jessica and Samantha from Niagara Frontier League. So got some rivalries to be decided here, and we will start things off here with Nicholas Rollo of Canisius High School. And a nice form there, and just leaves the 10-pin. Well, to join us to take us through this second match, Jim Russo is back here, but we're also joined by Jim Reese. And Jim, you've got a little rooting interest in this one, so you're allowed. Feel free.
Try to be unbiased.
But
yes.
Jim is also the pro shop operator over at Lancaster Lanes and a prominent coach here in Western New York as well, too. So we thank you for coming on here. And
thanks for having me.
Jim, give us the scouting report on these guys that are battling their way out here.
Well, the reason these guys were invited to be on this show is because, as you're going to see, they're all outstanding bowlers. Nick is the 2017 Catholic High School champion of New York State. Ryan Reese, his partner, also from the Monsignor Martin League. Ryan goes to
Cardinal
O'Hara. And Ryan was the 2015 high school champion, Catholic high school champion.
And that's Jared Farr from Niagara Wheatfield with a nice strike to start things off for the NFL team.
That's right. Poor Jared is from the Niagara Wheatfield team. He only averaged 220 this year. That's all.
That's all.
And his partner is Dom Germano, and Dom bowls for Kenmore East, and both of those teams are out of the NFL also.
Great. And here's Ryan Reese, our first look at him. And these guys are ready to bowl here, aren't they, Jim? We can see that early on.
There was going to be some transition here because they were practicing, we were talked about a little bit earlier, they were practicing on a much tighter pair.
Right.
So coming on here, there's going to be a little time to figure it out.
Supposed to be first time on TV.
Think he's nervous?
I try not to talk to him about being on TV or anything, so I didn't want to make him nervous.
How many times were you on Beat the Champ in the olden days?
83 was the first time. And then I was on for Kenmore Lanes when I left Arrow Lanes and went to Kenmore. I was on the very first show for Kenmore.
So you couldn't fill him in on what he has to deal with when he's bowling on TV?
Yeah, I try not to make him more nervous than he probably is.
Here's Dom Germano from Kenmore East, our first look at him. And there's a nice way to get things started for the NFL guys.
Play a part.
Yeah, he didn't have to worry about getting through the heads, right?
No.
Dom Germano was part of the team that represented Section 6 at the New York State Championships in not last year, but the year before, so in 2015.
So we've got some pretty high-level bowlers here. We've got some state champions and some championship team members, and I think we're already seeing that with the bowling that we've just got going here.
These are all guys I wouldn't want to have to bowl under any conditions.
You know, compared to the in our first match we saw, as you talked about, Jim, some inexperienced bowlers and Samantha who hadn't bowled at all. How's the coaching different with a more experienced group like the guys that we're seeing here?
Well, I just talked to Nick, and Nick bowls out of Island Lanes, where Mike Malwitz is part of the junior program, and Nick told me they just kind of leave me alone. So that's...
People say that a lot to Mike Malwitz, don't they?
Yeah, that's kind of like addition by subtraction, okay? The less Mike has to do with them, the better Nick gets, I think.
He's not there for junior bowling in the morning now, come on.
No, you're probably right.
It's a little early, isn't it?
Yeah, Friday nights tend to get a little crazy for Mike. As a matter of fact, the only night, well, any night that ends with Y, Mike has a little problem with.
And another good throw by Jared Farr. Jim, what have you learned about coaching and how it's changed and developed and how you have to adapt your coaching style to the different levels of experience?
Well, when I first started, we used rubber bowling balls that didn't do hardly anything, and the ball went straight. And as we progressed, it got urethane, got stronger, resin's even stronger. And now you got to worry about whether the lane's going to do, or we never had to worry about lanes changing that much. Well, now you got to make sure you have the right ball for the right surface, for the right speed, for the right rev rate. All those things we never had to worry about. So we made little moves. Now they make big moves.
Well, and in your role as a pro shop operator, it's completely changed the way you run your business, too.
Oh, for sure. You got to know the bowler and then know what house they bowl in. You're not going to drill them a ball for, let's say, a synthetic house if they bowl, if they bowl in a wood house. So it makes a big, big difference.
How long does it take you, or do the manufacturers, when they put out a new ball, pretty much tell you this is what this will do and for this condition, or is that something you have to figure out a little bit too?
But most of them, they show, if you watch the videos, they're all done on synthetic lanes. They're all, showing, and they all strike in the videos, by the way.
Of course.
But that's another thing. But
nobody's going to buy the ball that leaves a 7-10 split.
It's nice to know your clientele. When they come in, you have to ask them, like I just did, how's your ball speed and all those things. And if I don't know, I'll ask them to go out on the lanes, please throw some shots, to see what they do.
Can you tell anymore by how people track on their ball?
Oh, still you can. If the track's real low, they're a spinner. They come over the top of the ball. And if they're real high, they come up and through the ball straighter. But it's still just knowing where they bowl.
And for that means there's an oil line on your ball, and it's it kind of shows how your ball goes down the lane. It's an indicator of how your ball rolls.
Exactly.
We're going to be back with more Beat the Champ bowling action in just a minute. Welcome back to Beat the Champ. Let's get back to the action here on WBBZ-TV.
The oiling machine came out. That was the first one that oiled each individual board instead of sections. They used to do 6, 6, and 6. And now they could really, really tweak a lane condition. They can make it heavier in one board and keep building it up.
So you can make strips, but strips make bowling absolutely
So,
impossible.
but why would you want to do that? That's my question. Is why would you want to do that?
More freedom for the ball to hook on the outside, but stops more in the middle. They call it like a big crown. The lane is like a big, blended area, but it's fatter in the middle, and that holds the ball from crossing over.
Gotcha.
As what these kids are running into now, the lanes are getting burned up.
Yep.
The middles are disappeared, and the balls are all hooking to the nose.
And meanwhile, we have ourselves a match on our hands.
Yes, we do.
Because,
they figured it. These guys have figured it out. And again, the team of Jared and Dominic, as we're seeing now, the Niagara Frontier League bowlers, doing a nice job trying to hold off Nicholas and Ryan. So Jared with the handshake there for Ryan, and Ryan from Cardinal O'Hara High School will get things going here in the 8th frame.
Well, again, what we're seeing from them is, like Jim said, the middles are getting burned out, or
these lanes have seen a lot of action here today.
Yeah, and they're gonna have to get really deep on the lane to find some skid. Good shot there.
Great shot. Nicely done.
Yeah, he changed balls a couple frames ago and he got 2 strikes. There you go. There's the difference in the equipment.
Yep.
He changed balls 2 frames ago. Now he's got 2 strikes. The other ball was real jumpy and snappier. So that's what I didn't have to worry about.
Right.
This is what he has to worry about.
So now where does that, Sue and I talk about this an awful lot. Is that something that you've tried to teach him to know when to change? You're always,
He's been good since he's been young, and all I do is stand back and just tell him, Ryan, do this, what I see sometimes, But,
so you can probably be more help in adjusting.
Right.
Not that you're lucky you know the equipment, because you have to. It's your job to know the equipment.
Right.
And that's a little bit tougher for, more the old school bowler that doesn't have to learn the equipment day to day is all the things these balls
I
can
do tell people our sport is a triangle, though. It's the ball, it's the lane, and the bowler. They all have to do everything. So you can be the best bowler in the best lanes, but if your ball doesn't match up,
Boy, we have got a string of strikes coming here. You saw Dominic Germano. Now you see Nicholas Rollo. These guys are really going at it pretty good here. Well, I think that's the one thing that we've had that's been the most interesting about Beat the Champ is the varying styles of bowler that Sue and I try to do our best to explain on a weekly basis, from the big, high-swinging power guys to the finesse guys to the Tony Dolans and the Maciellas of the world to the big Josh Nowaks that we saw a couple weeks ago, where they just throw it through the back of the lane, and there's no right or wrong way to do it, because we've seen all of those different types of bowlers be successful at various times.
When I was a kid, that's the one thing I used to go watch the Pro Tour at Thruway Lanes, and my favorite moment was all the pros came out, and they all started at the same time, all 60 of them. And you see everybody be different, but at the very, very end, they all followed through, and they all looked the same at the end. They got their different, but they looked the same.
That's great. That's a very interesting observation.
Wow.
And another strike, and Ryan Reese is on a roll here for the Monsignor Martin team.
That's a great adjustment right there.
Yeah. And that's also knowing what's in your bag. Some of these kids come in with 5, 6 bowling balls because their parents will buy them everything they want. And I've got a couple young kids, and I make them write down what each ball does before mommy and daddy buys them another ball. You know?
How many balls does Ryan have in his bag?
4.
4?
Yeah, and 1 plastic ball and 4, they're all different shells that do different things. And
So explain that a little more, Jim. Is 4 a good number? And then of those 4, what are each of them designed to do?
Well, you try to buy, like, say, a smoother shell ball that reads the lane very even because it won't jump. Then, like that gold ball they started off with was a really strong back-ending ball, and you can see how much it jumped. This is a shinier ball, but a little smoother. And then obviously a spare ball. They have a plastic ball. So a 4-ball roller. You got dull, you got strong, you got nice even rolling, and then one to hopefully make your 10 pins.
That's great. That's awesome. That's a great way to explain it, because I think that's, as much as we spend a lot of time talking about it, people probably don't know, well, how many do I need?
Right.
What kind do I need? What am I supposed to have?
They all think they need the newest, greatest toy, and that's not necessarily true.
Well, then tends to get more confusing.
Right.
Another strike for Dominic.
Well, I guess the team of Jared and Dominic have taken pretty much the control of this match. So they'll be facing our girls.
Jessica and Samantha.
And just oddly enough, they're all from the Niagara Frontier League. So
the 165 is the final score for the Monsignor Martin team of Nicholas and Ryan, and Jared and Dominic waiting to finish out and post their winning score here as well too. So we've had some great bowling here in our high school bowling challenge here to wrap up our month-long stay at Manor Lanes 2. The traveling road show of Beat the Champ moves a little farther north for next week's debut at the Brad Angelo Lanes on Transit Road in Lockport. First time we have been there for the show.
Yeah, as I mentioned on one of the other previous shows, normally my son Brian had it over at Manor, and he kind of gave it up this year, although he's a big supporter and believes strongly in Beat the Champ. He just had so many other things going on, including the Tonawanda City tournament. He's got dodgeball going on, volleyball going on, so he just felt that it was too much.
They don't use the bowling balls for dodgeball, just right? Correct me on that one?
Let's hope not.
Let's hope not, right?
Well, you see how the left-hander has such an advantage, though?
I've heard that.
Did you notice?
I've heard that.
I say that
What's your
because
voice in your career?
Answer.
those that don't know, Jim's a left-hander and probably one of the best that's ever bowled in Western New York. So I just threw him a little jab there, you know.
Final score, 213 to 165, as our Niagara Frontier League bowlers, Jared and Dominic, will advance on. We'll talk to Nicholas and Ryan about their performance and get you ready for our championship match when Beat the Champ continues our high school bowling challenge from here at Manor Lanes 2 in Amherst. Good performance by Nicholas and Ryan representing the Monsignor Martin. Nicholas, give me a sense on being out there bowling on TV with everybody watching. How did it go?
Well, you know, the pins didn't fall the way I wanted them today, but it was still fun to be here, and I enjoyed it. So.
Yeah, I think you've learned that about bowling, that they don't always fall the way you want them to.
Not every day,
right?
no,
So,
unfortunately.
How about the challenge for you, Ryan, knowing that your dad was critiquing your performance there behind you?
It was more of a comforting kind of feeling, you know. I mean, he's back there, he knows what I'm doing, so I figured if I could make the adjustment, he'd be back there supporting me. So it was fun to have him back there.
And you know what it's like to be hanging around this guy too, don't you?
Yeah, he's a wise guy. So.
Wow. That's one of the nicest things I've ever heard anybody say about you.
Good.
Well, guys, good performance. Keep up the good work. Good luck. I know you guys are both heading off to college next year. It's been great to have you be a part of Beat the Champ. We've got more bowling. We've got our championship match. It is coming up next. It's the championship match of our Beat the Champ High School Challenge here at Manor Lanes 2. We've got the team of Jared and Dominic from the Niagara Frontier League against the team of Jessica and Samantha from the Niagara Frontier League. So this is an all NFL title on the line here. And we are ready to go with Samantha Michelin to start things off here for the team from North Tonawanda. So everything's going to work out good here for you, Jim Rousseau, because this is all your Niagara Frontier League bowlers are all the ones battling for the title here.
Well, if I'm biased, I have to go with Sam and Jessica because they're both my junior bowlers.
Okay.
And Sam's been bowling with us since she was just a real little one, maybe 6, 7 years old. Jessica's only been bowling with us for about 3 years, but Jessica has shown the biggest improvement. She's a senior this year, and probably, I'm going to say in the last 6, 7 weeks, probably averaged well over 200.
That's great. Samantha from North Tonawanda, 15 years old. She's been bowling for about, as you mentioned, 6 or 7 years, so 4 years on the North Tonawanda varsity, and about all 7 years of those hanging out here on Saturday mornings.
That's right. She gets a little upset. We have to calm her down a little.
Don't leave her alone, will you? She's focused on the bowling here. Don't push her buttons at all. All right, so now we flip things over to the guys, and this is Jared Farr from Niagara Wheatfield. We get our first look at him. Big, powerful stroke there for Jared. Just couldn't grab the strike.
Solid 9-pin.
He's 15 years old, as I mentioned, from Wheatfield, also a student. Second place finish as a Tonawanda Invitational or Individuals for the highest series this past year, and a good spare to begin things for Jared Farr. And now Jessica Sass from North Tonawanda.
Jared was one of those bowlers who had called and asked if he could qualify for Beat the Champ. And after watching him throw the ball, I'm pretty sure he could.
Yeah.
He could compete, that's for sure, whether or not...
I think Jeremy Zimmerman, Andy Reddig, and Mike D'Amico were probably pretty happy he didn't qualify.
Probably a lot of bowlers that are glad that they don't have to face some of these young guys.
Yeah, and we hope that you were with us a couple of weeks ago. Remember, this is our 4th week here at Manor Lanes 2, but our very first match in our very first week a month ago gave us our first perfect game in the reincarnation of Beat the Champ when Mike D'Amico threw that amazing 300 game, and what a cool moment it was. And you know, when you talk about moments in sports, all of us are sports fans, whether it's a hole-in-one or a perfect game or a no-hitter in baseball. They're just cool moments that don't happen very often, that when you witness them with your own eyes, you'll never forget seeing them. You know, and again, I know you guys as serious bowlers see 300 games all the time. You know, you've bowled them pretty significantly in your careers, but I still think there's something pretty cool about watching it happen.
Oh, there always is.
And the crowd, and we had a great buzz of the crowd, and you knew it, and there's just, like you said, it could be your 500th 300 game, but people that are watching it are excited about it.
And it makes it special when it's on TV too, because you have the added nerves, the lights, the people talking behind you. You know, usually in a bowling center, when somebody has 11 in a row, things get very,
Exactly.
very quiet. And here, you know, Paul kept yakking away. And poor guy.
Well, I got the dirty looks when I tried to let every people know that we were getting close to one. Or don't say it, you can't say it. You know, the old you know, superstition in sports that, you know, you don't mention it, but which always goes against the whole I'm here to tell people what's going on, which is part of my job. So, but I get it, I understand it. But that was a really cool moment amongst a lot of really neat moments that we had on our last our stay here at Manor Lanes too. So this has been a lot of fun, and Brad Angelo Lanes can only hope to have as much excitement over the next month as we've had here.
All the way through, beginning with the first qualifying date that we had before Easter, and all the way down to this last show. It's been nothing but a lot of fun, good crowd coming out, and you guys doing your usual excellent job.
Thank you, Jim.
And, can't wait for round 3 in a year.
That's right. Book it for May 2018 when we're back here at Manor Lanes too.
Well, let's hope.
Yes.
Let's hope we're all still here.
Let us hope so. Yes. You know, and let's hope maybe that because I know you're as big a football fan as you are a bowling fan, that maybe we're talking about some playoff memories by the time May 2018 rolls around. We can only hope.
It would be nice. Sabres, Bills, Bandits.
That's right.
We will take any kind of playoff.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will. We will pretty much take anything that extends the season a little longer than it's supposed to. So
I was fortunate enough to be a season ticket holder when we went to 4 Super Bowls. So I guess I've, you know, back then they said you'd be hard pressed to find another team like that, and I guess they weren't lying.
They were right,
because
weren't they?
we have certainly been hard pressed to find anything near that.
Did you get to any of the Super Bowls back then?
I got to 3 out of 4.
Oh, good for you!
Wow.
And then later on, I went to watch Philadelphia and New England in Jacksonville.
Oh, great!
So I've been to 4 Super Bowls.
Good for you.
And my team only won 1, and I say that hesitantly. Because
are you revealing that you have a built-in favoritism towards the boys from Boston?
No, but what happened was, as the week progressed, while we were in Jacksonville, the Philadelphia fans alienated me.
Oh, I got
so
you.
after
They've been known to do that.
Yeah, after about the second night, I said, you know what? I think I want the Patriots to kill them.
Nice strike by Dominic Germano there from Kenmore East High School. And
The action will continue on Beat the Champ in just a minute. Welcome back to Beat the Champ.
yes, it is. It's an interesting dynamic from a business standpoint to be in the bowling business. Is that things pretty quiet for a couple of months there, and
it gets bleak.
Yeah, you know, it takes some good business skills that I know a lot of the bowling proprietors here in Western New York have. Good ball there by Jared Farr.
That's just overpowering the lanes right there because they're a little dry for him.
And this is where the guys might have a little bit of an advantage too, because they have that speed that the girls, I think in one of our earlier shows I mentioned going to a clinic.
Good adjustment. They're just hooking a lot.
Yeah,
She's adjusting.
And if she could throw with a little more speed, that would help too. You see, the guys have naturally started pumping it up a little bit, and the girls just don't have the strength to do that.
We're in the 8th frame right now, and a good spare pickup for Jessica. And we turn it back over to Dominic in the 8th frame.
Is Jessica signed up to go to college anywhere to bowl?
I am not sure. I don't believe so, though.
Are you bowling in college, Jessica? In Villa Maria, very good.
She'll have Jack as a coach.
Jurek guy. Yeah, that's
Well, there you go. She's going from one great teacher to another. How's that?
That's perfect. And Dom's coach when they went to state was Dave Zajac, and now Dave is coaching at one of the colleges. And I keep wanting to say Medaille, but I think it's Damon.
Jeff Walsh helps out at Medaille.
So then it's Damon. So Dave Zajac, coaching high school, moved up into the college ranks, and now he's coaching
right
there. So.
Yeah, and again, there's a lot of opportunities at colleges around Western New York for people that bowl who enjoy the sport. You don't have to stop in high school. You know, I mean, you know, as you've told us about your tales from Buffalo State, and we know that ECC has a wonderful bowling program that's won many championships over the years. Jack getting things started on the ladies' sides at Villa Maria, but bowling at college level is very prominent in Western New York and throughout the country as well, too.
I know we were talking to Jim Reese, and Ryan's dad, but Ryan's mom, Michelle, was my anchor bowler. We bowled together at Buffalo State. So Ryan comes from quite a bowling family, but Michelle's a little shy.
Yeah, a lot of the kids, you find that they're second, third generation bowlers, like we had with Shuby.
Yeah.
You know,
your buddy Shuby.
Yeah. You wanted to.
I had to do it.
We left the door open
last time. But his dad was a great bowler, was on Beat the Champ, and now with Ryan, his dad, great bowler, was on Beat the Champ. So we're seeing those generations coming through.
Because so many of the previous generation that grew up when this sport dominated Western New York, and I'm sure, as you've told me before, there were twice as many bowling centers in Western New York in the 50s and 60s and 70s. So, you know, it's all the parents of the kids that we're seeing now were the kids of those great bowlers back then. So it certainly is a sport that has worked its way through generations.
Well, I'm sure they got taken to the bowling alleys a couple times when they were kids, so they grew up around it, probably sent off to another pair to go practice.
I feel bad. I feel like I've thrown the girls to the wolves here. These guys just beat them up.
Good shot.
But,
hey, the girls are doing a nice job.
They're doing
a nice job here, so they've been very impressive to watch.
You know, one of the things that I think makes this generation so much better than generations before is in the 70s and 80s, some of the bowling centers weren't quite family friendly. You know, there was a lot of, they were known as, I think that's where the name alleys came from. They were known as
that's
kind
very
of
interesting.
A dark place where there was a little gambling going on, a little drinking going on. And the kids and even ladies weren't welcome too often into some of the bowling centers when you go years back. But now that's all changed, where we're family friendly.
Sure. Great strike by Dominic there, as he and Jared have been very impressive and are on their way to claiming our Manor Lanes 2 high school bowling championship here. But yeah, there's been quite an evolution throughout your business over the years, and I enjoy talking to you and a lot of the other folks that have been around a long time here in the bowling community. It's interesting to get your perspectives on all that, and interesting for the kids like these to understand where the sport has come from.
Right. When they banned smoking in the bowling center, they probably did us a big favor.
You didn't think so at the time, though, did you?
At the time, it was a bitter pill to swallow because we thought it was going to hurt us, and I think it did for a little while. But after they banned it everywhere, you know, you couldn't smoke anywhere, so I think the bowlers came back to the bowling centers, and when they came back, they were much cleaner, smelled nicer, you know, had good-looking proprietors like me in them, so everything helped, you know.
All right, once they could see you without the haze there, they knew how good-looking you are.
Well, they used to have guys like Whitey, you know.
Hey, you be nice to Whitey. You know. Whitey is a friend of the show, so you be nice to Whitey.
All right, nice finish. Both times Don got up there, he really finished them out strong. 221.
221 to 111 is our final score as Jared and Dominic claim our high school bowling championship. We're going to talk to all of them and get their take on this fun-filled day here when we return on Beat the Champ. We have crowned our Manor Lanes 2 high school bowling champions. It is Jared and Dominic. Nice matchup here with Samantha and Jessica. How much fun was that for you?
It was okay. It was a great experience, though, to have for future years.
Good. Jessica, what'd you think?
I thought it was pretty interesting. I've never really done anything like this before, so.
Good. Well, you guys bowled great, and you were very impressive to watch. But Sue, we do get to call these guys champions.
Yeah. Jared, as a freshman, the lanes changed quite a bit, probably a little different than what you're used to seeing. How did you adjust to that?
Well, every ball I threw, I saw how I was moving, and I just slowly moved left. After time and time, once I got it to where it needed to be, it was perfect.
Oh, that was great, Justin. And you're off to college after this, so where are you headed?
I'm going to ECC. I'm going to study business, and I'm also going to bowl for ECC.
Well, that's great. Good luck to you guys.
Thank you.
Great bowling today.
All right, the next generation of great bowlers here in Western New York. You got a chance to see him all day here today. It was a lot of fun to watch all of them. Sue and I come back to wrap up our stay here at Manor Lanes 2 when Beat the Champ rolls your way next. Well, we enjoy every stop we make here on our Beat the Champ tour, but I think we're going to have a little special memories from here at Manor Lanes 2, and not just because Jim Russo told us to say that, because we had some incredible bowling and a memorable moment of our first 300 game. That's what jumps out at me about the last month.
Yeah, we've been wondering whether we would really see one or not, and it's not that easy, but he made it look easy, didn't he?
Yeah, Mike D'Amico did it in our very first match a month ago, and then we had great bowling as we went our way throughout, wrapped up by the high schoolers who, Janelle, I thought did a great job and gave us a good feel for the future of the sport.
Definitely, they did incredibly. And even, the girls didn't win this time, but they still do better than I do.
Yeah, and they may win it next time.
Exactly.
Don't be surprised by any of that. Well, we move on to Lockport for next week, where our returning champ, Jeremy Zimmerman, will face 8 new challengers to see who can claim the latest titles of the champ. Who's going to beat the champ? We'll find out next week in Lockport. For our entire crew here at WBBZ, for Janelle and for Sue, my name is Paul Peck. Thanks for watching Beat the Champ.